All right, so now that we've done everything in topic 7, we're going to talk about the practice test. So just a reminder, make sure you study for the test. The practice test is a nice way you can watch this video to help you with it, or complete a blank one over and over again until you understand what the question is asking. So let's dive right in. Number 1, it says write 8x to the second power minus 5 plus 7x to the fourth minus 9x minus x to the fifth in standard form. So you have to know what standard form means. Standard form means you start with the highest exponent and you work your way down. Well, I can tell you right now, 5 is our highest exponent, so we should start with that, negative x to the fifth. And if you look at your options, there's only one that starts with negative x to the fifth, so it has to be C. But if you continue the problem, it goes 7x to the fourth plus 8x to the second minus 9x minus 5. Notice it starts with the highest exponent and it works its way down. That is true standard form. So our answer is C there. Simplify, well, if you look at this problem, there's a plus sign in between them, so we're just adding, so we're combining like terms. So I have 5x to the third plus 7x minus 8 plus 2x to the third minus 5x to the second minus x plus 3. So we start with the highest exponent, 5x to the third, 2x to the third. If I add those, I get 7x to the third. Don't forget, whenever you add, the exponent does not change. So then I would look for my x squareds. There's only one of those, so I'm just going to copy that one down. Go to my x's, 7x minus x would be 7 minus 1, which is 6, so 6x. And then lastly, negative 8 plus 3 would be negative 5. So my answer would be 7x to the third minus 5x to the second plus 6x minus 5. All right, next one says simplify as well, but this is a minus sign. So we have negative 7x plus 5 minus 2x to the second minus 8x plus 6. So the way we taught it is we rewrite this. We're going to rewrite this part by changing all the signs that are in the parentheses. So this first one does not change. The second one becomes negative 2x to the second plus 8x minus 6, and then we combine like terms by starting with the highest exponent, working our way down. So negative 2x to the second is first, and there are no other 2x to the second, so we leave that there. Negative 7 plus 8 would be a positive 1, so we just put 1x. And then 5 minus 6 would be a negative 1, so I would have negative 2x to the second plus x minus 1. Number 4 says find the product. It says find the product. We are multiplying. In this one, you're going to distribute, right? So negative 8y squared times 2y squared, well, it would be negative 8 times 2, which would be negative 16. Y squared times y squared, you're going to add the exponents, so it would be y to the fourth. Okay, and I just distribute the negative 8y squared to the 7y, so negative 8 times 7 would be negative 56. And then it'd be y to the third, because there was 2 y's here, there's 1 here, so I have 3 total. And lastly, negative 8 times negative 5 would be a positive 40, and I'm going to have y squared because this one has y squared, but the inside has nothing. All right? You could also do the box method on this if you wanted to. Number 5, it says find the product, 6y minus 2 squared. Well, what that really means is to rewrite it as 6y minus 2 times 6y minus 2. So you can FOIL or box method. I'm going to do the box method here just to kind of get that back into your brain. So 6y minus 2, 6y minus 2. If I multiply, I get 36y to the second power minus 12y minus 12y, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So then I would combine my like terms. There are no other y squared, so that comes first. Negative 12 minus 12, a lot of people think that cancels, but it does not. It just makes a bigger negative. So it'll be negative 24y and then plus 4. Number 6 also says find the product, 4x minus 7 times 4x plus 7. Again, you can do the box method or you can FOIL. This one I'm going to FOIL, so I'm going to do the first times the first, which will give me 16x to the second. 4x times 7 would give me 28x. Negative 7 times 4 would be negative 28x. Negative 7 times 7 would be negative 49. Like I said, you can do the box method as well. 4x and a positive 7, but you're going to get the same thing. So if you notice, the 28x and the negative 28x are going to cancel because one's positive, one's negative. So my answer is just 16x to the second minus 49. And that is the first page. It's a lot of adding, subtracting, multiplying, and writing it in standard form. Now we get into factoring. So what's the greatest common factor? I'm going to get 16y to the fourth plus 12y squared minus 4y. Well, let's look at our numbers out front. 16, 12, and 4. What's the biggest number that goes into all of them? Well, I know the factors of 4 are 1 and 4, 2 and 2. The factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And then 16 would be 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. So if you notice, they all have a 4 in them. So that's going to be your highest common, or your greatest common factor, which would be negative 4 because the first term's a negative. And I gotta look at my y's. This one has 4 y's. This one has 2. This one has 1. So the most y's I can take out is just 1 from every single one. So my GCF is negative 4y. So your greatest common factor would be negative 4y. Next one, 2x to the third minus 5x to the second plus 25. So we list out our factors, 1 and 2, 5, 1 and 5. So we notice that right from there, this is just 1 and 2, this is 1 and 5. The biggest thing they're going to have in common is 1. So we don't normally factor out a 1, and not all of them have an x to factor out. So really your GCF is 1. Right? So if you're going to factor it out, technically it would look like this. But that's just the same thing that we started with. So there really is no reason to factor out your 1, but your GCF would be a 1. So normally we would just say, all right, write this as your answer, and that would be factoring out the GCF because you can't really factor anything out. All right, what is the factored form of x squared minus 10x plus 21? This one is whenever we do factoring with a polynomial, specifically a trinomial. So we want it to multiply to the last number, but add to the middle. So notice this is a negative 10 as a positive 21. So these have both got to be negative to get that negative 10 in the middle. So it's going to multiply to 21, but add up to negative 10. If I list out my factors, those are the only pairs of factors. This one right here happens to add up to that negative 10. So I'm going to say x minus 3, x minus 7. The factored form of x squared plus 3x minus 10, very similar to what we just did. However, this is a positive, this is a negative. So it's got to multiply to negative 10, but add up to a positive 3. So I'm going to say negative 1 and 10, negative 2 and 5. And if I add those, negative 1 and 10 gives me 9, negative 2 and 5 gives me 3. That's going to be my answer right there. So x minus 2, x plus 5. All right, number 11, we're doing the AC method because the number out front is bigger than a 1. So I would do 3 times negative 15 to get negative 45. So I'm going to list out the factors of negative 45 and see which ones add up to that 4 in the middle. So 1, negative 1, 45, negative 3 and 15, negative 5 and 9, and that is it for my factors. So then I look and see which pair adds up to 4. That would be this pair. So I'm going to rewrite it and say 3y squared minus 5y plus 9y minus 15. Now we do factor by grouping. So we're looking for the GCF of those two. Well, it's going to be a y, so I have 3y minus 5 left over. The GCF of these two is going to be a 3. So then I would have 3y minus 5 left over. And you want these to be the same to know you did the AC method right. So then I'm going to combine these and say y plus 3 and 3y minus 5 is my other one. Factor x squared minus 12x plus 36. It's going to multiply to 36 back to negative 12. Well, it's going to be two negatives. Look at it's negative 6. So if they both show up as x minus 6, x minus 6, well, this is the same as saying x minus 6 squared. So our answer is A. And lastly, again, the AC method. I'm going to do 16 times 9 to get 144. Now, negative 24, and this says it's a perfect square trinomial, so you know it's probably going to be something really nice. So you could do the AC method here. So I'd listed out all the factors of 144. If you notice, negative 12 and negative 12 add up to that negative 24 in the middle. And the reason why we call this a perfect square trinomial is because what's the square root of 16? What's the square root of 9? Well, square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 9 is 3. So I bet if you did the AC method, you're going to end up with 4y minus 3 on both of them. So this one, what do these two have in common? That would be a 4y, so then I have 4y minus 3. These two is going to be a negative 3, so I'm going to have 4y minus 3. So notice I get 4y minus 3 on both of them, which is like saying 4y minus 3 squared. So you can do the AC method, or you can recognize that it's a perfect square trinomial, and you know they're going to be the same thing. Hence why it's 4y minus 3 squared, because 4y minus 3 is going to show up twice. And that's the review. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you reach out to Ms. Sanders or myself, and we'd be more than happy to help you study for the test.